this gorgeous marker stand. It's all filled up. And we're only using these to fill 2 more prompts in the Create This book. Got the markers and we've got the Create This book. It's actually been a little while since we've used alcohol markers. And first up is create a duo. Draw 2 people, places, or things that are better together. We're making something silly. As you might be able to tell from this sketch, we're keeping this chill, hopping on a video, and reaching for those alcohol markers. And you know what? We have a lot now. We need yellows and browns to begin with because we are making a sandwich. We also need reds, we need green. This is a stereotypical sandwich, okay? There is one extra special edition, and that is crisps. Although I guess in the United States it's chips, but over here we call them crisps. And to me, that is an iconic duo, okay? This is something that I have to do every single day. It's been a little while since we've made some silly art, so I just had to. This is something I feel very strongly about. Crisps in a sandwich, obviously. Every single time. I can't have a sandwich without it. Like, a sandwich needs a crunch, in my opinion. We've also got lettuce, tomatoes, a little bit of ham. I think there might be some red onions in there too. This is a pretty full sandwich, okay? And we're using alcohol markers directly in the Create This book. This is always a little bit of an experience because it is just Amazon paper. It does spread a little bit. It reacts a bit differently to other paper. Alcohol markers are quite a difficult medium because you never know how they're going to react on different papers. Saying that, we do a lot of collage in this book, and every time we use watercolor, that's also sticking in watercolor paper, which is just a little bit thicker. So with prompts like this, where we get to draw directly into the book, it's actually super handy because it means that the book isn't getting too big. Okay, like right now, the book is pretty chunky. It's already struggling to stay flat. Just a little bit. Like when I stick in pages, I can't go right to the middle anymore because it pokes out so much. And I think that that's going to get worse. So we're being smart about it and drawing directly in the book, which does mean that both of the other sides are going to need something stuck in. But as you might have already seen, the previous prompt is create a disaster. So a little bit of a spoiler there. If you noticed it from the previous episode, yeah, we had to do this one first to then stick all of those pieces of paper on top. I had the idea for Pompeii first. I knew that I wanted to make that collage. It's one of my favorites in this entire book. But if we're going to be sticking collage on a page, we might as well make the most of it. We might as well use alcohol markers first so that we can then do collage on the other side. So that's kind of where this idea came from. And I think in future, if there's a prompt where I know we're going to be sticking something in, or I know that we're going to be doing collage, it really does just make sense to use a medium like alcohol markers on the other side, something that's obviously going to go through anyway. Even acrylic markers kind of do something on this paper. Like, they don't go through, but they layer a little bit weird, and the color can seep through a little bit. So often if I create a piece that we really like, that's where I don't use alcohol markers on the other side. And it's also why I don't trust acrylic markers either. You don't need the best art supplies to create art, but sometimes you have to adapt a little bit with supplies. And this is one of those. The paper is perfectly fine to use, but I really don't want to affect what's underneath. And with that, I think we're missing color. Blue with this work is not exactly correct, but we kind of need an edge to this plate. Like, okay, we've got the sandwich, everything inside of it, all of the crisps on the side, and the plate is technically probably just layers of grey, but that's a little bit boring. This is a light blue. I thought it would work well, but actually, like, okay, this is a lot darker than I thought it would be. It kind of works though. It could just be one of those two-tone plates. This is a silly piece that we're creating right now, and I'm gonna tell you a secret. I am missing the color pencils, okay? We are only using alcohol markers for this, and it's difficult. Color pencils are a fantastic way to add texture, which would be essential for crisps. Like, I think think these would look so much better if we could add just a little bit of like Caran d'Ache luminance pencils. They have so much texture. Even a Neocolor pastel would work. And you can see I am just lining the words and nothing's really happening. I don't want to reach for a black or like a really dark shade because I like this piece being just light and mid-tones. I don't want it to be super bold. I don't want it to look kind of cartoony. That's not the look that we're going for. But unfortunately, without color pencils and without dark line work, it just doesn't have much contrast. Well, anyway, I think we're gonna move on. I don't think there's much more we can do to this piece. So we're gonna pack away, and you would not believe how fast we did this. Like, this is the time. It's still early in the morning, and that's crazy. The second prompt is to create a garden. Draw a beautiful garden with vegetables, flowers, and any other plants you like. I think we're gonna focus on flowers, and this is the sketch. Again, we are only using alcohol markers, which is kind of proving to be a challenge. And we're gonna need a lot of greens for this, like every single green, because we are drawing a greenhouse. This is one of those cute prompts that I actually really like because I don't think there are many other ways that you'd go with it. Like, technically you could change your prompt however you like, but creating a garden, I mean, that's a really cute prompt. We're gonna have fun with this one. We get to add a lot of color, and whilst some prompts are a little bit more ambiguous, you can take them however you like. I do kind of like these ones that are a little bit on the nose and just tell you what to create, because that previous prompt was very difficult. I really struggled to come up with any ideas for that one, but we haven't created silly art in a long while. Oh, I want to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. Sketchbook buddies, you guys are the best. I really appreciate all of your support, and it means I can continue making videos, which I absolutely love, so thank you. And yes, right now we really are just layering a ton of green, but we get to move on to terracotta, which I'm guessing is going to be the perfect color for a plant pot. Like, literally, it's got to be. It's in the name. It's pretty spot on, I'll give them that. I want this to look semi-realistic to a point, as in we are gonna make it almost the correct colors. Like, all the pots are gonna be terracotta. A lot of the time we make really crazy random art of all sorts of colors, but the prompt is to create a garden. And with this prompt, I wanted to make something that looks almost like a lo-fi scene. So that's what we're going for, but again, we can't use color pencils, and I think that's going to continue to be a challenge. Alcohol markers are fantastic at layering. They are transparent, so you do need to think ahead. That's why the top of these trees are not looking great, because obviously we had to add the blue in, and that's a whole block of green. And I had a reference photo where it did kind of look like this. The trees were pretty full. Looking at it now, I think I probably should have filled the entire piece in that light blue. I'm gonna be honest, I just didn't want to waste the alcohol markers. But if I added individual branches where you could see the sky behind, it would have looked better than this. It's okay, we're gonna try and make this piece. We've got a lot of little things to add. We've got the little watering can, we've got all of those pots, lots of little plants, a couple of veggies, and I'm just hoping that we can pull this together with a few more layers. We need the ground, we need some pebbles, a path, of course. But the greenhouse itself was actually a really big struggle, because obviously greenhouses generally are glass. Oh, you know what? This is actually reminding me of the stained glass church that we painted. That was really early on in the Create This book. What was that? Like the third or fourth episode, I think? That piece was inspired by greenhouses, and the idea that instead of regular glass, the entire thing was full of stained glass, and then the glass actually shines outwards into the world. Yeah, this greenhouse isn't that. This greenhouse is just regular glass, but because it's glass, but the entire background is literally like in a forest, it's full of trees, the greenhouse looks green. I looked at the reference, it literally does just look green, which kind of makes it look a little bit odd. I'm not gonna lie, it does look a little bit weird. So we need to make it a bit more obvious that the trees are behind, and then that's where the color's coming from. But when I tell you I am struggling with these trees, they look really flat and I don't really know what to do. I'm layering loads of different greens and they are kind of just disappearing. But the trees are also seen through the greenhouse. Like the greenhouse is clear. So this is a struggle, okay? I'm really trying to define those lines now. And I think this entire process has proved that I do like using color pencils. I really enjoy adding them to watercolor and alcohol markers. And I think if you're watching this and resonating with some of this process, you might like them too. Because color pencils are so much easier to add definition. We can grab an even darker green and try and do the most that we can for the background. But when it comes to details in the foreground, I would definitely recommend reaching for a different medium. It could be a darker or lighter color pencil. You could even reach for a pastel and add some highlights in. Often white gel pens are also amazing. That way you could add a highlight as a line. Say that light is reflecting from this greenhouse, you could have lines of white with that. You could also use an acrylic marker for the line work. I actually did this for Peachtober. It's really reminded me of that now that I'm seeing it. There was the prompt, oh, greenhouse. It was literally greenhouse. And we did a little fairy house in a tree. Started off with alcohol markers and then added acrylics on top. It's a really weird combo, but if you're looking for dramatic line work, that's something that you could consider because alcohol markers make lovely blends. They're perfect for backgrounds, and acrylic markers are really good for definition. Fine liners are also a shout, but feel free to use fine liners first and then just use alcohol markers on top. It's a really efficient way to work, so definitely try that if you haven't already. With this though, I am definitely leaning more towards mixed media now. A lot of fun, but I am missing those pencils. And just like that, we are done. Using only alcohol markers, we created some silly art, all themed around crisps in a sandwich. Are you a yay or nay? Or is it just me? Then we created the cutest little cozy greenhouse, lo-fi inspired. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you in a few days. Bye bye.